everybody. Welcome back to Elijah Talks. I wanted to say a huge thank you for the continued support on the podcast. A lot of you are just super enthusiastic and let me know that you are. And that's because I am too, I'm enthusiastic about what I do. And one of the things that makes what I'm doing so much more fun than I originally anticipated is that I enjoy doing it. I'm getting as much out of it as you are. So um I didn't I've done podcasts before. Some of you that have been around longer than others might remember that. But this particular approach that's more just laid back, not super, we don't like plan every single thing we're going to say, just a few prompts that we generally know that we're going to go over, and we just have a conversation about it. So it's not an interview or anything like that. It's not uptight. It's just like regular people just talking. I felt like that would resonate, especially when I did the first episode with Esther, because that's how I intended it to feel and to be, and it just kind of caught on. And I'm glad that I did that, because that way, doing these discussions, because it's not like an interview, I'm able to really listen and gain a lot out of the discussion myself. So it's awesome. It's awesome. And of course, I want to say thank you. And I'm so happy a lot of you have enjoyed my last song that I put out, Praise Go Up. I talked a little bit about it and the makings of that song, but I'm so glad. It's funny because um, uh, I I'm a man of versatility, when it comes to music and art, and whether it's a fast song, whether it's a cultural song, whether it's a churchy song, whether it's a more orchestral type of song, there's not much I've ever counted myself out of. I don't remember growing up thinking, I can't take that song. Like I just don't limit myself that way. I have other areas that I'm working on, as a creative. Sometimes you get in your head and stuff like that, but I've just never been the kind of person to feel like anything's off the table, as far as like what I'm capable of. And if I don't have the skill set, I'm figuring out who's going to teach me. How am I going to learn? So it's something like that that drives me to do what I do. And cultural music, especially African and Caribbean music, is something I grew up listening to. So I'm super glad I was able to do that. And one thing I love about making music, it's like a stamp in time. I get to look back and see the progression and just listen back to music. I didn't think I would have music that I could listen back to, and it's like, oh, I remember what it took to make that song, and what I was thinking when I did this, and what I was thinking when I did that, and even looking back at some earlier songs, be like, oh, now I'll understand, like, the mix got to be like this, and next time I'll do this better. So it's just the process is just as fulfilling as the final product to me. It's stressful for sure, a lot of stress that goes into that stuff sometimes, but it feels worth it. So I'm glad that you have been enjoying that song. I play that. I hope that you play it up, especially when the weather gets good. So when you those reunions, put that song on. Let them sing that worship song, that praise song. Praise go up. But and of course, to you that have supported Promises and still listen to the songs. I have this CD right here. I think I showed y'all already, but this CD is super special. I'll just show you a little bit here. Um, to the few of you that purchase copies, y'all are awesome. So I'm just so humbled that I get to enjoy the thing I did, and you enjoy it too. So I'm just super grateful. I just wanted to say that. But I really wanted to talk about briefly. Came to my mind to talk about a little bit about um, arrogance, and how to identify an arrogant person, how to identify if you have arrogant traits, and what what's that experience like dealing with people, like, and how do you navigate it. I'm not going to go too long, but for you that stick around on my solo videos, I appreciate you, because oftentimes like I said to you before, I listen back to my podcast a lot of times to kind of be like, what was he talking about? So I can really listen back and sometimes remind myself of things. So, um, one of the things that I don't think people often like to touch on that subject because I feel like we all know somebody that fits that category, even if it's not us. And a lot of things that kind of hit home, we kind of go radio silent on. You know, it's true. It's just nobody likes when a mirror is held up in front of them. Some people are more used to it than others. I've certainly gotten more used to it. Like there's not much at the current place where I'm at in my life where someone could hold a mirror to me and I'll like be like, oh no no no, I don't want to see that. Like I've developed and matured a lot over the years personally. So I'm cool, with the realization of who I am and what I have to work on and things like that. That's a big hurdle I've overcome compared to when I was younger. But one of the I'll start with this. One of the reasons why it's very very dangerous to be around people that are arrogant is we often struggle to believe in ourselves. We often struggle with our body image. We often struggle with reckoning that we are enough. We often struggle with feeling secure, whether it's because of finances, whether it's because of fitness, whether it's because of social status or whatever it may be. There's so many different hurdles that we're trying to overcome already. And when you go around people that are a very high-minded, arrogant type of person, it's sort of like it's their assignment to make sure they belittle everybody around them as much as they possibly can. And I want to make sure that it's clear that most of the time, someone that is arrogant is going to try to delude you into believing that they aren't and that you're projecting, which sometimes is the case. Okay, so you got to kind of go with me on this. Sometimes it is true that someone that you think is full of themselves, someone that you think is arrogant, sometimes they're not. And sometimes the things that you think make them arrogant are just things that you haven't dealt with in your own heart. And for example, if you aspire to have a dream body and you see somebody that has that exact body or that exact house or that exact car, oftentimes you will then start to subconsciously associate arrogance with them, even if you don't really know much about them, because they have the things that you desire to have, but you may be frustrated with yourself that you haven't got there yet. And so it can your world view can start to morph them into this arrogant person, and that could be now how you label them. And the whole time they may have the dream body, they may have the house, and they may have certain things, but they're just a regular person that just appreciates what they have, but they see you as a complete equal to them, and they will treat you as such. But so this is why it really takes experience to learn these types of things, to have the proper judge of character, because people are often misjudged, whether they have money or whether they have a dream body or not. So, and then but the reverse is also true, where somebody may know that they have more than you. They may know that they get more attention than you. They may know that they are more sought after than you. They may know they may be able to do things better than you, in air quotes, and they will use that to their advantage to belittle you in subtle ways, right? And they do it a lot of times in subtle ways to make you feel like you're making it up and that they aren't belittling you. You're just insecure. So I just wanted to really kind of just draw different pictures really quick, just to make sure I cover different angles, because all of these scenarios take place a lot of the times at the same time. And a lot of times we can get blurry vision. So I want you to keep in mind those various scenarios. And you know, one of the things that people that are arrogant don't really realize is that you can lose everything and your life can turn upside down overnight, you know? And this is why the humility aspect is so important, because you can have the best body, you can have the most wealth, you can have the most connections, you can have the most popularity, you can have, you know, such a great quality of life, you know, from your perspective, and all of it can be taken away from you. This is why quality friendships are important, and they're very difficult to find, because it's very difficult to find people that will ride it out with you when you're up high and when you don't have much. I spoke to many people that have been through that experience where when they don't have much, you can't find a friend. When you have much, everybody wants to be your friend. That's just a normal. It's been like that long before I was born, long before my mother and father was born. It's been like that's just a part of the human being, unfortunately. But that doesn't take away from the fact that these are conversations that are important to bring to the light. And arrogance can come in many different forms. It's not just always materialism. Arrogance can also come into the form of intellect. It's very, very important that you avoid dealing with people that believe that they're academically superior to you, they're emotionally superior, and all these types of things. Sometimes you may be more advanced in certain areas, but to treat people like they're less than is the problem, right? Those are the things that we're talking about. And what I mean by, intellectually arrogant is sometimes, have you ever spoke to somebody and they speak to you in such an academic way that they know you don't understand, simply to highlight your ignorance of certain things? You know, those are the types of things that a lot of times people that are arrogant do to boost their own ego. And that's what I mean by intellectually arrogant. Is just these I really wanted to paint these types of things so you can understand the broader sense of what I'm talking about. Um, Knowledge is power. And this is why I just want to say too, I will always emphasize there is a time and place for everything, because some people really don't see the value in these types of conversations and these types of things because they're bottom liners. And to be honest, if you're a bottom liner, you know, you're missing out on so much development, because I was telling someone a while back that a lot of people don't realize that their natural growth, right, on things that are natural and their connection to things that are just human, it a lot of times assists with their spiritual growth. You know, so they go hand in hand a lot of times, but people often miss that point. They kind of just think, well, just sit in a corner and pray, and that's how I build myself spiritually. And that's not really how that goes. You have to. It's a combination of things. It's a combination of your social awareness. It's a combination of your ability to be friendly, because that's also something that's very, very important. You know, but I just wanted to really emphasize that there's always someone better than whoever thinks they're better, you know, especially when it comes to, you know, even relationships. A lot of times people stay in relationships because they feel like they can't get anyone better than they've gotten, not realizing there's someone better than that person, you know. So I really want to emphasize, I'll leave this here. Um, if you feel like your accomplishments makes you too good to just sit and talk with people, if you feel like the people you hang with are too cool to be mingling with other people that you hang with, I would reconsider your mindset. Or if you think that you don't, you know, your time is so valuable that you only have time for, you know, people that have leveled up, you know, these are the types of things that you want to evaluate and consider. Everything you have, everything you can do, all your skill, all your gifts, all your family, all your friends, all your materialism, all the clothes you have in your closet, I mean, all this, all the beauty you may have. You may walk into the room and everybody wants to get your number. You may walk into the room and every guy wants to talk to you. Whatever the case may be, but you can lose all of it overnight. Your beauty can be taken away overnight. Your intellect can be taken away overnight. Your friends will, more so, they can drop you quicker than your intellect could leave you. Because people really are like night and day, you know? So that really is very volatile. All those things should be qualifying factors for you to really dial it down, do some self-reflection, and ask yourself, when I say that, God is my everything and I am nothing, do I mean that, or is it just lip service? Because a lot of times I think that we can really miss the mark as far as understanding how we deal with people and putting our best foot forward. Does that make sense? So I do appreciate you taking the time. I just wanted to kind of, just more so, not make a concrete point, but just kind of paint some pictures as far as what that looks like. And I think sometimes you will find people that play dumb, because it's easier to gaslight people into thinking that they're the problem and that they're not seeing what they are seeing than to own up to it. So this is why this video is here, and this is why I do what I do, because a lot of the times we stick to one side of the story, but it's good to take both sides. Similarly to my conversation with C, I told her, we often hear the conversations about children to parents and what children need to do and what children don't do and what children are, how the young generation is this, the young generation is that, rightfully so. But sometimes someone has to hold the mirror up to the other side with just as long and extensive of time and detail and attention. And so this is one of my goals is that we can go under the rug, lift up the curtain, So I appreciate you listening. I appreciate your support. I appreciate, and I will say this too. Thankfully, I don't have that many. I have quality people that are really, really supportive, and I make it my business to reply and to think and to engage with you in the comments and whatnot, because I'm not overwhelmed by comments and stuff like that. So it's easy for me, and I enjoy that to get to the comments. If you're overzealous, I'm going to more than likely delete the comment. If you can, I'm perfectly fine with people's opinions about things. That doesn't bother me at all. But the reason why I will remove comments and do things like that is because I don't want, if I can help that poison not to spread to someone else, that's why I will do that. So, until it becomes so many comments where I can't catch them, then I'm going to do my best to have some sort of maintenance care with what I do with my platform and things like that. So I do appreciate you all that have a sense of maturity when it comes to communicating your thoughts. I just, Elijah, if you're new here, welcome. Elijah is not that guy. I'm not going to leave room for that overly spiritual thing, because it's extremely dangerous. I'm not the kind of brother that's going to just tell you. I'm not the kind of guy that's going to be like, we just got to pray for them. No, I'm going to let you know that overzealous spirit, that finding the need to be super deep all the time thing, I know what that's like on very extreme sides, and I have no tolerance for that. I'm not even passive toward it. I really am not, because I know what that's like and I know how dangerous it is. So, yeah, we're going to handle that properly and promptly. So, and I appreciate you all, though, that, are, have the tact to understand how to engage on social media and follow rules and be respectable and those types of things. I admire you, and you motivate me. So I appreciate you all, and I mean well. I hope to do my best, and I'm excited to share one more song with you all soon. So stay tuned for that. Alrighty, bye.